March 15th, 2022, 4:47 a.m. Outskirts of Kyiv, Ukraine. Artillery incoming. Foreign volunteers. First combat. International Legion. Formed weeks ago. Volunteers from 52 countries. Americans. Britons. Canadians. Poles. Georgians. Everyone. All came to fight. For Ukraine. Against Russia. For democracy. Against aggression. For principle. Against invasion. Everyone had reasons. Personal. Political. Ideological. Everything. All volunteered. Now. First battle. Reality meeting ideology. Artillery exploding. Close. Too close. Volunteers taking cover. Trenches. Hastily dug. Weeks ago. Ukrainian positions. Defending Kyiv approaches. Northwestern axis. Russian forces advancing. Stopped weeks ago. Stalled. Retreating slowly. Ukrainian counterattacks beginning. International Legion participating. First combat. For most. Some veterans. Iraq. Afghanistan. Syria. Experienced. Most aren't. Civilian backgrounds. IT professionals. Teachers. Students. Tradesmen. Everything. Motivated. Untested. Now tested. Artillery continuing. Russian forces engaging. Small arms fire. Incoming. Volunteers returning fire. Training remembered. Some. Others freezing. Combat shock. First time under fire. Different than expected. Louder. More chaotic. More terrifying. Training said one thing. Reality another. Volunteers adapting. Some quickly. Others slowly. Some not at all. This is International Legion. This is first battle. This is ideology meeting reality. Where motivation meets mortality. Where principles meet projectiles. Where volunteers learn. Combat is different. Then imagined. Then trained. Then everything. This is March 15th. This is first battle. This is why they came. Being tested. Immediately. Brutally. Completely. The battle develops. Hours earlier, volunteers briefed. Mission support Ukrainian counterattack. Secure positions. Northwestern Kyiv. Russian forces retreating. Harassment mission. Prevent regrouping. International Legion assigned sector. Alongside Ukrainian forces. Regular army. Territorial defense. Everyone fighting. Volunteers integrated. Partially. Language barriers. Experience gaps. Equipment differences. Everything complicated. But mission clear. Advance. Secure. Hold. Simple operationally. Complex execution. Volunteers moved out. Dawn approaching. March 15th. Cold. Wet. Ukrainian spring. Mud everywhere. Rasputitsa. General mud. Historical. Current. Slowing everything. Russian retreat. Ukrainian advance. Everything. Volunteers advancing. Through fields. Through mud. Toward Russian positions. Abandoned. Supposedly. Intelligence said, withdrawn. Maybe. Maybe not. Advance continues. Until. Artillery. Russian. Not withdrawn. Not abandoned. Still occupied. Still fighting. Volunteers caught. Open ground. Incoming fire. Scramble for cover. Trenches. Shell holes. Anything. Some make it. Some don't. First casualties. Immediate. Volunteers wounded. Killed. First combat. First deaths. Reality arrived. Sudden at 11:47 a.m. March 15th, 7 hours after contact, Ukrainian forces withdraw. Mission aborted. Russian resistance stronger than expected. Casualties unacceptable. Withdraw ordered. International Legion pulls back. With Ukrainian forces. Fighting retreat. Russian forces pursuing. Artillery following. Volunteers covering withdrawal. Some professionally. Veterans. Experience showing. Others struggling. First combat. Learning while retreating. Hardest lesson. Under fire. Backward. Maintaining cohesion. Preventing rout. Veterans leading. Organizing. Directing. New volunteers following. Learning. Surviving. Some. Not all. Casualties during withdrawal. More. Volunteers hit. Wounded. Killed. Evacuation difficult. Under fire. Through mud. Everything complicated. But most survive. Most withdraw successfully. Reach Ukrainian lines. Secondary positions. Regroup. Count losses. First battle over. Volunteers survived. Mostly changed. All. First combat changes everyone. International Legion, no exception. Ideology tested. Reality taught. Survivors learned. Combat is different. Then everything. Then imagined. Then trained. Then believed. Reality taught. March 15th. First battle. Lesson delivered. Brutally. Completely. Permanently. This is Military Report. And what happened to International Legion wasn't heroic adventure or noble crusade, was brutal introduction to modern combat where idealistic volunteers confronted reality of artillery and casualties and chaos discovering war is different than imagined, where diverse motivations and backgrounds collided with unified experience of being under fire, where veterans and novices fought together with mixed results, where first combat tested everyone and changed survivors permanently, where withdrawal wasn't defeat but survival and learning. The question isn't whether volunteers were brave. Obviously were. Question is what motivated such diverse group to volunteer, how they performed in first combat, and what International Legion reveals about modern volunteerism where ideology meets reality and personal motivations are tested by fire. Official Ukrainian statements about International Legion welcomed publicly. Volunteers from around world supporting Ukraine, true. Defending democracy against aggression, framed politically. Reality, volunteers useful. Additional manpower, international attention, propaganda value, but integration challenging. Language barriers, training gaps. Equipment shortages, command difficulties, everything. Ukrainian military managed. Best possible. Integrated volunteers. Where feasible. Used appropriately. Mostly. Some units effective. Others less. International Legion mixed capability. Ukrainian statements acknowledged volunteers. Praised bravery. Managed expectations. Realistic about challenges, combat revealing. Ukrainian military learned how to employ volunteers, where effective, where limitations, statements balanced, recognition and reality. International media coverage of volunteers, extensive initially. Foreign fighters joining Ukraine, headlines everywhere. Volunteers interviewed, motivations explored, idealism highlighted. Reality less covered. First battles. Casualties. Withdrawals. Difficulties. Less dramatic. Less heroic. Media moved on. Volunteers remained. Fighting. Dying. Learning. Coverage decreased. Interest waned. Volunteers continued. Less publicity. Same danger. Same combat. International Legion became routine. Not news. Just war. Volunteers accepted this. Came to fight, not for coverage, for cause, for principle, for personal reasons. Media attention wasn't goal. Combat was reality. Volunteers adapted, continued fighting. Months, years. Some, others left, injured, disillusioned, completed commitments, varied. Media forgot. Volunteers remembered. First battle, always remembered, changed them, defined them, taught them. War is real. Not theory, not ideology. Real, deadly, permanent. Stay with me, because the detail that explains volunteer motivations, why they came, is going to show you that reasons were intensely personal, despite appearing ideological. Public statements, democracy, freedom, opposing aggression. All true, all real. But individual motivations deeper, more personal, more complex. American veteran, served Afghanistan. Iraq, felt purpose, civilian life empty, sought meaning, found in Ukraine, British volunteer, Ukrainian heritage, grandparents fled Soviet Union, personal connection, family history, defending ancestral homeland, Canadian, believed in cause, democracy versus autocracy, saw invasion or felt compelled, acted, Polish volunteer, feared Russia, Poland next potentially, better fight in Ukraine, then Poland, Georgian volunteer, Russia invaded Georgia, 2008, never forgot, saw Ukraine, saw Georgia repeated, came to fight, personal, every volunteer, different reasons, same result, volunteered, came to Ukraine, fought, some died, all had reasons, personal, deep, real, ideology was framework, personal motivation was fuel, both necessary, both present, both real. International Legion wasn't monolith, was collection of individuals, different backgrounds, different motivations, same decision, fight, for Ukraine, for reasons, personal, varied, real. Let's establish what International Legion actually was, who volunteers were, how they fought. International Legion formation, February-March 2022. Invasion begins. Zelensky announces. Foreign volunteers welcome. International Legion forming. Volunteers arrive. From everywhere. 52 countries eventually. Thousands. Exact number unclear. Security? Operational security. Volunteers integrated. Ukrainian military structure. Foreign nationals. Ukrainian command. Legal status. Complicated. Volunteers signed contracts. Ukrainian armed forces. Legal combatants. Geneva Convention protected. Theoretically. Russia threatened. War crimes prosecution. Mercenaries. Not legitimate. Propaganda. Legal status clear. Volunteers legitimate. Combatants. Not mercenaries. Fought for cause. Not payment. International Legion formed. March 2022. First units operational. Integrated with Ukrainian forces. Various sectors. Kyiv. Kharkiv. Donbass. Everywhere. Fighting immediately. Learning continuously. Volunteer backgrounds and motivations. Diverse completely. Military veterans. American. British. Canadian. Others. Combat experience. Iraq. Afghanistan. Syria. Elsewhere. Motivated by purpose. Meaning. Belief. Cause. Civilian volunteers. No military experience. Motivated by ideology. Heritage. Fear. Principle. Everything. Backgrounds varied enormously. IT professionals. Teachers. Construction workers. Students. Retirees. Everyone. Ages 1860s. Everything. Common factor. Motivation. Strong enough. To volunteer. To fight. To risk death. Different reasons. Same strength. All left homes. Jobs. Families. Safety. Came to Ukraine. War zone. Active combat. Certain danger. Possible death. Why? Motivations personal. Deep. Varied. Real. Each volunteer. Individual story. Individual reason. Collective action. International Legion. Formed from individuals. United by decision. Fight for Ukraine. First combat performance. Mixed. Veterans performed well. Combat experience showed. Calm under fire. Effective tactics. Leadership emerged. Organized others. Directed fire. Managed withdrawal. Professional. Effective. Critical. Novices. Struggled initially. First combat. Terrifying. Chaotic. Different than training. Some adapted quickly. Natural ability. Good training absorption. Effective soon. Others slower. Combat shock. Freezing. Ineffective initially. Learned eventually. Some. Others never adapted. Left. Injured. Psychological. Physical. Various. First combat revealed. Who could fight? Who couldn't? Reality tested everyone. Results varied. Veterans expected. Proven. Novices uncertain. Tested. Some passed. Some didn't. All changed. First combat. Permanent impact. International Legion learned. Who were fighters? Who were supporters? Roles clarified. Combat decided. Not training. Not motivation. Combat. Actual. Real. Decisive. Integration challenges and solutions. Multiple. Language. Biggest barrier. Commands. Coordination. Communication. Everything complicated. Solutions. Interpreters. Mixed units. Veterans translating. Adapted. Not perfect. Functional. Equipment. Varied. Volunteers brought own sometimes. Ukrainian issued mostly. Standardization difficult. Ammunition compatibility critical. Managed adequately. Training. Varied enormously. Veterans needed little. Novices needed much. Time limited. Combat immediate. Training compressed. Basic. Essential only. On-job learning. Combat taught. Quickly. Brutally. Effectively. Command. Ukrainian officers. Language barriers. Cultural differences. Expectations varied. Veterans understood military. Hierarchy. Orders. Civilians learning. Adapted mostly. International Legion integrated. Imperfectly. Functionally. Effectively enough. Combat proved. Volunteers fought. Alongside Ukrainians. Successfully. With losses. With lessons. With results. Casualties and psychological impact. First battle, casualties immediate. Volunteers killed. Wounded. Numbers classified. Operational security. But real. Significant. Proportionally. First combat costly. Always. International Legion no exception. Psychological impact severe. First deaths. Comrades. Friends. Real. Immediate. Close. Different than expected. Training doesn't prepare. For friends dying. For reality. Of combat. Volunteers affected. All, some handled. Veterans mostly. Experience helped. Civilians struggled. More. Some left. Couldn't continue. Understandable. Not cowardice. Reality. Combat isn't for everyone. First battle proved. Who could continue? Who couldn't? International Legion learned. Adapted. Continued. With those who stayed. Who could fight? Who would fight? Casualties continued. Months. Years. Some volunteers. Psychological toll. Permanent. All survivors. Changed. First battle. Forever remembered. Forever impactful. International Legion. Tested by fire. March 15th. First battle. Lesson permanent. 3 questions from the beginning. Time to answer them. What motivated diverse group to volunteer? Personal reasons. Varied. Deep. Veterans sought purpose. Meaning. Found in Ukraine. Heritage volunteers. Ukrainian background. Family history. Personal connection. Ideological volunteers. Democracy. Freedom. Principles. Saw invasion. Felt compelled. Security concerned volunteers. Feared Russia. Better fight Ukraine than home. Personal. Every motivation. Different reasons. Same strength. Strong enough. To volunteer. To risk death. For Ukraine. For cause. For reasons. Personal. Real. Sufficient. Volunteers came. Thousands. From everywhere. Different motivations. Same decision. Fight. International Legion formed. From personal decisions. Collective action. Individual motivations. Varied. United. Real. How did they perform in first combat? Mixed. Veterans. Well. Experience showed. Effective. Leadership. Professional. Novices. Varied. Some adapted quickly. Effective soon. Others struggled. Combat shock. Learned slowly. Some never adapted. Left. First combat revealed. Natural fighters. From others. Training helps. Experience more. Natural ability most. Reality tested. Results varied. Overall, International Legion functional, effective enough, with losses, with lessons, learned quickly, adapted continuously, improved, over time, first battle, rough, educational, survivable, mostly, subsequent battles, better, experience accumulated, lessons applied. International Legion became effective through experience, through combat, through survival. What does International Legion reveal about modern volunteerism? That ideology motivates, but personal reasons sustain. Volunteers came for principles, democracy, freedom, everything. True, but stayed for comrades, for commitment, for personal reasons, deeper than ideology. Ideology brings volunteers. Experience keeps them, or doesn't. Combat tests everyone, reveals who can fight, who can't, who will continue, who won't. Modern volunteerism, possible, effective, with proper integration, proper employment, proper support. International Legion proved volunteers can fight effectively alongside professional military when integrated properly, when employed appropriately, when supported adequately. Ukraine managed, mostly successfully. International Legion contributed throughout war, from first battle, March 15th, through years following. Volunteers fighting for Ukraine, for reasons personal, ideological, real, all. Modern warfare includes volunteers. International Legion proved possible, effective, costly, real. The lesson from International Legion's first battle is that modern volunteers can contribute effectively when properly integrated, despite diverse backgrounds and motivations being tested immediately by combat reality. March 15th proved volunteers could fight, with losses, with lessons, with courage. Ideology brought them. Personal reasons sustained them. Combat tested them. Survivors continued. Throughout war, International Legion became functional fighting force, from chaotic beginning, through first battle's lessons, applied, learned, adapted. Modern warfare lesson. Volunteers useful when integrated properly, not replacement for professionals. Supplement, additional capability, international attention, all valuable. Ukraine demonstrated how to employ volunteers, where effective, where limitations. Lessons applicable broadly. Modern conflicts, where volunteers come from everywhere, different motivations, same willingness. Fight, for cause, for country, not theirs originally, chosen, through decision, personal, deep, real. International Legion exemplified. Modern volunteerism, effective, costly, possible, real. First battle taught. Volunteers can fight, will fight, do fight, with professional integration, proper employment, adequate support. March 15th. First battle. Lesson demonstrated. International Legion. Volunteers under fire. Fighting. Surviving. Learning. Contributing. Throughout war. From beginning. Through first battle. Beyond. Permanently teaching. Modern volunteerism. Reality. Effective. Real. This is Military Report. We analyze operations defining wars. International Legion First Battle, define modern volunteerism's reality. March 15th. Volunteers. First combat. Reality met ideology. Artillery incoming. Casualties immediate. Volunteers responded. Mixed. Veterans effectively. Novices varied. Some well, some poorly. All tested. First combat revealed. Who could fight? Who couldn't? Combat decided. Not training. Not motivation. Combat. Actual. Real. Survivors learned. War is different. Then everything. Then expected. Then trained. Then believed. Reality taught. Brutally. Immediately. Completely. Volunteers adapted. Those who stayed. Who could. Who would. Continued fighting. months, years. International Legion, throughout war, contributing, effectively, with Ukrainian forces, alongside professionals, integrated imperfectly, functionally, adequately, proved volunteers can fight, modern warfare, when employed properly, when integrated adequately, when supported sufficiently. Ukraine demonstrated, International Legion proved, from first battle, March 15th, through war's duration, volunteers fighting, for Ukraine, for reasons, personal, ideological, varied, real, all sufficient, to risk death, to volunteer, to fight, modern volunteerism, possible, effective, costly, real, International Legion, permanent demonstration, first battle, March 15th, lesson taught, volunteers contribute, modern warfare, reality proven permanently. Subscribe to Military Report, because understanding modern warfare requires understanding volunteer forces' role. International Legion demonstrated, volunteers from 52 countries, thousands total, various backgrounds, military veterans, civilians, all motivated, different reasons, all sufficient, strong enough, to volunteer, to fight, to risk death, for Ukraine, not their country, their choice, ideology motivated, democracy, freedom, opposing aggression, all real, personal reasons deeper, veterans sought purpose, heritage volunteers defended ancestry, ideological volunteers fought principles, security volunteers prevented expansion, all personal, all deep, all real. First battle tested, March 15th. Combat reality. Volunteers responded. Mixed. Veterans well. Novices varied. All tested. Combat revealed. Natural fighters. From others. Experience helped. Natural ability decided. First battle costly. Casualties immediate. Psychological impact severe. Some left. Couldn't continue. Others stayed. Could fight. Would fight. International Legion continued. Throughout war. Effective. Contributing. Alongside Ukrainian forces. Integrated imperfectly. Functionally adequately. Modern warfare includes volunteers. International Legion proved possible. Study first battle. Learn lessons. Volunteers useful. When integrated properly. Employed appropriately. Supported adequately. Ideology motivates. Personal reasons sustain. Combat tests. Survivors contribute. International Legion. Modern volunteerism. Reality. Effective. Costly. Real. Permanent lesson. Study. Learn. Apply. Modern warfare. Volunteer forces. International Legion. Reality demonstrated. Real operations. Real tactics. Real consequences. Stay informed.